I wish I knew sooner. This is something we've all said. I know I have. There's nothing we can do to go back in time. Time is an illusion. All we can do is work with what we have in front of us, and that is our life. Every day is a choice. Every day is a choice to become better and be 1% better than the day before. So, in today's video, I will be sharing with you all 5 things I wish I knew sooner that I did in my early 20s that I no longer do in my late 20s. And in my early 20s, these 5 things I didn't realize that it was doing more damage than good. And as time has passed by, I realized that I had to make a change and I had to make changes to my lifestyle. So here are 5 things. Hello everyone. If you're new here, my name is Alexis. I am your skincare and wellness bestie. I love taking care of my skin and I love taking care of my body through movement, through wellness, through fitness, and through healthy habits. And another thing is skincare. And like I mentioned before, we can't do anything to go back in time, but all we can do is make a change in our life and try to become better, because every day you have the opportunity to become 1% better. And let's be real, we only have one body in this lifetime. We only have one life in this lifetime, unless you're a cat. And if you believe in that, they say like cats have 9 lives, but we don't have 9 lives. We have one life in this lifetime. And I believe that you should make the best out of it. So I am here to help you elevate your life, live your best life, and make the best out of this lifetime and to experience life. Like, we are here to experience life. And why are we going to make things harder for ourselves? I want to be able to make things easier for myself so that I make life more enjoyable. And it's important to make the best out of it, even when life throws you curveballs, even when life gets hard, because let's be real, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. Life gets real and it gets hard. And for me, that was my autoimmune disease. Through my autoimmune disease journey, I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn that stress can really take a toll on your body. And your body is a magnificent thing. It can do wonderful things. In this very moment, your body is doing things that you're not even aware of. And it works for you every single day, even though you may feel like it's working against you. But trust me, your body loves you. Every cell in your body loves you. However, when your body is under a lot of stress, your body is out of balance. And when your body is out of balance, this is also called out of homeostasis. So every day your body works for you in a way where it wants you to maintain balance. It wants you to stay in homeostasis. For example, if you're not in homeostasis, your body can start to give you signs and signals that you need to make some changes in your life. A good example of your body trying to keep you in homeostasis is when you're doing physical activity. When you're doing physical activity, you start to naturally produce sweat. Your pores get larger and it starts to produce sweat. This sweat acts as a natural cooling system so that your body can stay at a balanced level versus getting overworked, overheating, and we don't want that to happen. For a really long time, I was ignoring these signals. I was ignoring the little messages, the little signs my body was giving me. I was putting it off to the side and I thought that I'd be fine. But soon enough, it caught up to me. What happened over time is that stress turned into chronic stress. And for those of you who do not know what chronic stress is when you're stressed 24/7. And when you have very high stress levels, you are not allowing other body organs to work properly. And being stressed is not a bad thing. It can be very beneficial in moments in fight or flight. For example, if you're in a situation where you need to get yourself out of there, book it and get yourself back into safety, that is when fight or flight is beneficial. However, when you're in fight or flight 24/7, which means you're in chronic stress, you're on high alert the whole time and your body is not able to go back to a calmed state. You're not able to rest and digest, and your body has 2 modes. When it comes to the nervous system, your body has fight or flight, where you're on high alert, very vigilant, your cortisol levels go up, and then the other mode is rest and digest. This is when your body is able to relax, it's able to heal, you're able to grow, and you're able to digest. And that is why it's called rest and digest, because your nervous system needs to be regulated and calm in order for you to digest your food. And at the time, again, I wasn't listening to my body. That stress turned into chronic stress, which means being stressed 24/7. That then developed into my health issues. I developed IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. Then that developed into an autoimmune disease. The beginning of my health journey was at the beginning of my 20s. And over time, I realized that I really needed to focus on my health, regulating my nervous system, and really focusing on managing my stress levels. And all of this, all my health issues is related to a dysregulated nervous system. And a dysregulated nervous system, it's when your body's stress response gets stuck. It's not able to get back to a calm state. And when this happens, when you have a dysregulated nervous system and you're stressed 24/7, when you're in chronic stress, you're not allowing other body organs to work properly. And that's when your body starts to malfunction. That is when your immune system weakens. It's easier for you to develop a disease and it's easier for you to get sick. And that's exactly what happened to me. It affected my health emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So now in my late 20s, I'm a lot more aware of what my body can and cannot handle. And for that reason, I am super passionate on managing my stress levels and really focusing on staying balanced, maintaining homeostasis so that I could take care of my body and nurture my body. I know that was a very long spiel, so let's get into the 5 things I wish I knew sooner that I did in my early 20s that I no longer do in my late 20s. So this first one is not taking breaks. In my early 20s, I thought I was unstoppable. I thought I could do anything and I could get away with anything. In your early 20s, your body's very different compared to your late 20s, obviously. And in my early 20s, I was working a corporate job and I did not take breaks. And what I mean by this is I'm not talking about a lunch break or I'm not talking about going to sleep. I'm talking about like intentional quiet moments. I thought I was unstoppable. So the way I went about my day, I would wake up, go to work, right after work, go home, change quickly, eat, go to dance class. Because at the time I was in a salsa team, a dance team. And then I would get out super late, go home to eat, shower, go to sleep, and then start the next day. So my day was very go, go, go. And I did not allow myself or leave space for intentional quiet moments. So again, I'm not talking about a lunch break or going to sleep at night. I'm talking about intentionally slowing down. And now that I'm in my late 20s, it's in my schedule. It's in my schedule to stop what I'm doing, whether it's reading a book, going out for a walk, or even literally just laying down on the couch, not watching TV, just being on the couch and doing absolutely nothing for like 10 minutes or even for like 30 minutes. And the reason for this is because when your body is in a constant go, go, go mode, you're on high alert all the time and you're not allowing your body to rest. And again, a regulated nervous system is so important because that is when you are calm and relaxed and balanced versus if you're always go, go, go and you're not taking a break, you're going to be in a stress state and that is not good for us. It's not good for our body. It's important to take care of our body, to nurture our body, and to regulate our stress levels. And at the moment back then, and even sometimes, I still struggle with this, but back then I was always like, and I'm sure many of us think the same, we have this mentality of like, I have so much to do. I need to get this done. I need to be here at this time. I can't take a break because I need to get this done. It was always like, go, 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 stress, 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 and just thinking there's so much to do and not enough time. And you're setting yourself up for failure. You're basically setting yourself up to get stressed if you're always going to have that mentality. So it's very important to make space and leave room to allow your body to rest and to relax and be able to have those quiet moments. Because in those quiet moments, it's like a little reset button. If you do not take breaks, it's like driving all the time without filling up the gas tank. However, trust me, when I first started taking breaks, I was very uncomfortable. I was like, I don't know, I have this to do, I have that to do. I was very uncomfortable with taking breaks because I was not used to it. However, I think it's very important to make sure that you're comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that leaves room for growth as a person. And we're here for longevity. I no longer glorify being busy all the time. Like, if you're busy all the time, that is not fun. To me, that is not fun. I need time for myself. I need my me time. And now I am able to take breaks, and I tell myself it's okay to take breaks. Taking breaks is not being lazy, it's taking care of myself. Taking breaks doesn't mean I'm falling behind, it means I'm maintaining myself. It means I'm taking care of myself. Another thing too is the way rest looks throughout your lifetime is going to change, because the amount of rest you need right now will be different than the amount of rest you'll need in a few years, and even when you become an elder. So you have to remember that with the circle of life, the seasons change, you get older, and things will change, but that's the beauty of life. Because if it's always the same, I feel like life would be boring. Now, I used to not take breaks. That has turned into taking breaks to slow down. So this next thing, I realized that I would be doing this all the time. After some time, I was like, wait a minute, it doesn't need to be this way. So this next one is rushing. I would rush for literally everything. And what I mean by this is that I would rush getting ready for work. I would rush making breakfast. I would rush getting ready to leave the house. I would rush for even on the weekends, and I was like, there is no need for me to rush. And the reason why not rushing is so important is because when you're rushed, you add stress to your body. And when you're stressed, your cortisol levels go up. And when that happens, your nervous system becomes dysregulated and you are feeling very ungrounded and unbalanced. However, like I mentioned, when you're rushed, you're stressed. But being stressed isn't always a bad thing. Like I mentioned before, being stressed in moments where you need to book it, save yourself, and get back to safety is good and beneficial in those moments. But not everything in your life needs to feel like a sense of urgency. Now that I'm in my late 20s, now I'm like, you know what? I'll get there when I get there. It's out of my control if I'm late. I did my very best, but it's out of my control. And sometimes when you feel like everything needs to be in control, that also adds stress to your body. Now, the only time I feel rushed is for a wedding, because, a wedding is a once in a lifetime experience, especially if like I'm a bridesmaid. I'm like, I need to be there on time. So I'm rushed in those situations. Other moments where I do leave space for it to be okay to be rushed is if I'm trying to catch the bus into New York City. However, sometimes I'm like, you know what? There's moments where I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be late this time. And that's okay. And you have to learn to be okay with being late. There's certain things that are just out of your control, and you have to learn to be okay with that. Because if everything was in control and you had it all figured out, where is the fun in that? If you knew exactly how every day is going to be, how the rest of your life is going to be, that is very predictable. And sometimes the best things in life is when you don't see it coming, at least from my experience. So when I transitioned from my early 20s to my late 20s, I realized that I no longer needed to be rushed for everything. And there's a specific moment in my life where it was a turning point. And this turning point was kind of like a slap in the face, and it made me realize that I don't need to be rushed for everything in my life. What happened was that on this day, me and my friends, we had planned for a movie night at our friend's house. And we had planned to all spend the night. And so we had a great time. We watched the movie. We went to sleep. When it came to the next day, we all got ready. We made breakfast. It was a slow morning, at least for some of us. And when it came down to getting ready, I was getting ready. I was going here, there, back, forth. And that's when my friend was like, Alexis, do you have anywhere to be? And I'm like, no. And he's like, then why are you rushed? And I was like, I don't know. Like, this is how I get ready. And that's when my boyfriend told him, like, yeah, this is literally just how she gets ready. And he's like, okay. And that made me realize, like, wow, like, there is no reason for me to be rushed. Also because the night before, we had asked each other, like, do you guys have any plans? Do you need to be anywhere tomorrow? Is it okay if we have a slow morning? We were all on board on having a slow morning. However, when it came down to getting ready, I was on high alert. My slow morning didn't seem like a slow morning to others because in their perspective, in their point of view, which is a fact, like I was rushing for no reason. And I was like, after that, I was like, girl, like, yeah, why was I rushing? I didn't need to rush. After that, it was a huge turning point in my life. I no longer felt like everything needed to have a sense of urgency. Now I approach things with a lot more calmness, a lot more clarity, feeling a lot more grounded and balanced. And this allows my nervous system to feel regulated, to feel calm. I now have the mentality of like, I'll get there when I get there. What's more important is that it doesn't matter how long things are going to take in life. What really matters is if I'm going in the right direction. And I recently heard this and I was like, wow, that was like really beautiful to say. Time is an illusion. Sometimes 5 minutes feel longer than these other 5 minutes. So what really matters is your intention and your focus, because where your focus goes, energy flows. So now I move with more ease. I'm a lot more calm. Sometimes I have to check myself. Sometimes I'm like, yo, Alexis, like, you don't need to be rushed. When I stop rushing everything, that's the energy I put out. Because previously I was rushed, I was stressed. So the energy I was putting out into the universe was the energy I was getting back. So there's a saying, the energy you put out is the energy you get back. I was putting stress out into the universe. I was getting it back even stronger. So now I move more with ease, with a lot more intention. It's helped me a lot to have a lot more clarity throughout the days, and having a slow morning, moving with intention has really helped me build like a healthier day. And even safety, I feel a lot more safe and grounded when I'm not rushing things. And not rushing leaves space for growth and for your body to grow, to heal, and for other body organs to work properly. So if you find yourself rushing, there is no need to rush for everything. There's certain things in life that don't have such a huge sense of urgency. To you, it may seem like that, but in reality, it doesn't need to be that way. Okay, so this next one is drinking cold water first thing in the morning. In my early 20s, I would drink cold water first thing in the morning, and now I either drink warm water or room temperature. Drinking cold water first thing in the morning actually makes it harder on your digestive system. This one is very highly connected to my health journey and my gut health. And the reason why I no longer drink cold water first thing in the morning is because of my health issue and my journey with my autoimmune disease, I no longer want to make things harder on my stomach. I actually want to make things easier on my digestive system rather than making it harder for me, because my digestive issues began to show up early on in my autoimmune disease journey. I am very, very passionate on ensuring that I make things easier on my gut rather than making it harder for my gut. Before I found out I had an autoimmune disease, like I mentioned before, my body was giving me a lot of signals that it was out of balance, that it was out of homeostasis, and that it was stress. My body was telling me that it was stress and I needed to make some changes. And so a lot of the time, some of the early on signs of an autoimmune disease is digestive issues. Especially for women, some of us, if we're very stressed, it shows up in our gut. My health was at a very all-time low in my early 20s with my gut health, because in my early 20s, I was working a corporate job and I was not happy with that job. I was very stressed. I was not aligned with myself and my mind and my heart. And that's a whole other YouTube video of why I was so misaligned with my job. But that job added a lot of stress to my life and it showed up in my gut. The early signs was that I would get a lot of gas and bloating. I was having a hard time digesting my food. I was getting a lot of heartburn. And I was just like, my stomach was in a knot and I would get really, really bad stomach cramps. It was so bad that the only thing that helped was either going out for a walk, literally like stop what I was doing and do some physical activity, because that really helped get my motility going in my gut. It got so bad that the only thing I was able to tolerate was oats with water. This took a really huge toll on my body. This time period in my life was really, really hard for me and very dark for me, because it took a huge toll on myself and my identity. I'm a foodie at heart. Like, I am literally a foodie at heart, and food is so important to me. Food is the way I nourish my body, the way I take care of my body. And for me, food and feeding your body is a sacred time. Literally, us human beings, we would not survive without food and water. And so when it was really hard for me, when it was darkest times for me in my gut journey, the basic things I needed to do as a human being was digest my food. And I was having a really hard time for that. And so now I don't take it very lightly when it comes to not taking care of your gut. And because of that experience, I try my best to take care of my gut. And also because your gut is highly connected to your nervous system. When your nervous system is dysregulated, it makes it a lot harder on your digestive system. It becomes harder for you to digest food. Thankfully, now I'm on a much better path. My dietary restrictions aren't as strict as they were before. I have now reintroduced more foods into my diet because at the time, again, there was not much I could eat. I couldn't tolerate much. So now, instead of drinking cold water first thing in the morning, I drink warm water or room temperature water, because cold water first thing in the morning actually shocks your digestive system. When we wake up, our whole body is waking up. Our gut is waking up. We're a little groggy. Our brain is also waking up. It's a new day. So things are much slower in the morning. You're dehydrated. It's important to drink water in the morning. However, I'm a lot more aware of my gut health and ensuring that I am starting my day in a good way. So warm or temperature water actually helps get things going in your digestive system. It's warm, it's comforting, and it helps wake up your gut. Think of a car. In the winter, think of it like a car. In the winter, you cannot just start your car first thing in the morning without warming it up. It needs to be warm. It needs to get going. It needs to be warm in order to start driving. Your body sometimes needs a moment to wake up. And that's exactly what you're doing by allowing yourself to drink warm water or temperature water rather than drinking cold water, because cold water actually shocks your digestive system and it slows down your motility. We want a good motility in order to digest our food. So this next one is something that I would still do even up until last year. It's something I have now changed in my life. This next one is going to sleep with wet hair. I no longer go to sleep with wet hair. A lot of this is tied to my Mexican and indigenous roots, as well as things I learned from traditional Chinese medicine. So, with your body, there is warmth and there is cold. Warmth is typically warm and comforting. It allows things to get moving. It allows to get your energy going, to get things going, your motility. Often, if your body is cold, it's much easier for energy to become stagnant. When you have cold in the body, it's harder for your blood flow to get going. Blood circulation becomes a lot slower, and so does your digestion. Growing up, my grandma would always be like, oh, don't go outside with wet hair. She would be like, no salgas con el pelo mojado. And she's basically telling me like, don't go outside with wet hair. This is a very like traditional Mexican thing to do, but it's also tied back to indigenous roots. There is a reason why you shouldn't be going to sleep with your wet hair. And so from what I've learned is when you go to sleep with wet hair, you allow cold to enter through your body, through your scalp. And when cold enters your body through your scalp, it's much easier for your head to become tense. It's easier for you to get headaches, and it adds stress to your body as well. You feel a lot more heavy. And I know when I'm stressed, I get headaches very easily. And that is another way of your body telling you that it's stressed. That's your body telling you that it's out of balance and that it's out of homeostasis. For me, I do not want to add stress to my body. There's no reason to add additional stress to your body. The way you go to sleep and the way you wake up is so important, and it makes such a difference on how you set yourself up for success for that day. I've noticed that if I go to sleep stressed, and again, having wet hair allows cold to enter through the body, which adds stress to your body. When you go to sleep angry or stressed, you're falling asleep and you're waking up most likely stressed. There's a high chance that you're going to wake up exactly the way you felt going to sleep. And so I don't take it very lightly when it comes to like just being meh about how I go to sleep. I am very intentional with the way I go to sleep. I try my best to remain calm. I'm not trying to be stressed before I go to sleep. I also try my best to not do any sort of work right before bed because my body and my brain needs time to calm down, to de-wind and get ready for bed so that I could get a good night's rest, because I know if I go to sleep stressed, I don't get the best sleep. And sleep is very important for your body because sleep is when you allow your body to reset, to nourish. There's cell regeneration. Sleep is a chance when you're able to get into deep sleep, and deep sleep is very important too. It's when you remove toxins out of the brain. So going to sleep with dry hair versus wet hair is one of those moments, those small habits that make a big difference on my body, my health, in order to remain balanced and grounded. And another thing too is I do not do the best in cold weather. I thrive in warm weather. I always tell my mom and I always tell people, like, I feel like I'm meant to live near the equator. My body thrives in warm weather. And another reason why cold does not do the best or does not serve me in the best way is another symptom with my autoimmune disease is achy joints. And when it's cold, it actually adds more achiness. I experience a lot more achy joints when it's cold. So I ensure that I don't go to sleep with wet hair because I don't want to add additional cold to my body. Going to sleep with dry hair protects me spiritually and also physically. So this next one is so important, and I feel like it's the number one thing that contributed to my gut issues. What I always did in my early 20s is that I would always eat while working. And this is something I had to learn the hard way because in that moment, I didn't realize that I was doing more damage than good. All of these, I didn't realize that I was actually adding more stress to my body. And looking back, this was the number one thing that actually made it worse and sped up my IBS issues. And it made things escalate a lot more quickly with my gut. The reason why it's so important and the reason why I no longer choose to eat while working is because eating is a sacred time. In my early 20s, at the time, I was working my corporate job, and so I would eat while working. However, when I was working, I was stressed. So I was mixing up the two. Eating is a time where you are supposed to focus. This is a time you nourish your body, where your body digests your food. And this is a time when you nourish your body with nutrients and the yummy, good food that you have to put in your mouth. However, I was doing that while working. And even to this day, even if I'm trying to send out an email, and now that my work is a lot more aligned with my authentic self and I enjoy what I do, I still no longer work while eating. Like how I mentioned before, your body has two modes. It has rest and digest and fight or flight. And so when I was supposed to be eating, which is rest and digest, I was also in fight or flight. I was mixing up the two and my body was getting very confused. And I quickly learned that my body was not taking it. It did not do very well eating while working. And so quickly, I began to get really bad stomach cramps. I would eat, but then I learned that like my stomach was getting cramps. I would be in a lot of pain. I'd get gas, bloating, acid reflux. My body was not enjoying this process. It was in a lot of pain because I was eating while stressed, which should not be happening because in order for you to digest your food, you need to be relaxed and focus on the food you're putting in your mouth versus being stressed at the same time. My body was so confused. My body kept giving me signals to say like, hey, you need to focus on just eating versus working while eating. The reason for this is because the way the digestion process, the process of digesting your food begins even before you put food in your mouth, and it continues even after you swallow. So your body is all connected. There is this thing called your gut-brain axis. And so your brain and your gut communicates with one another. And also, the state of your nervous system is highly correlated to the state of your digestion. If you're stressed, your digestion is going to go down. If you're calm and relaxed, your digestion is going to improve and work more efficiently. And so my body was split. I was stressed, but trying to digest, and my body wasn't having it. And so my stomach would get into a knot and it would cramp up and it would be very painful. There's a lot of sharp pain and pins and needles, all that bad stuff. And so that is why I say, when you feed yourself, when you nourish yourself, when you decide to put food in your hands, there are nerve endings at your fingertips. The moment you grab your food, you're already telling your brain, hey, like, I'm about to feed myself. So get ready to start digesting. Get ready to start breaking down the food. And instead of being aware and being intentional and being present with my food, I was focusing on my work, which was giving me stress, which was stressing me out. And so there was miscommunication between my gut, my brain, and even my hands. I was adding stress to a sacred time. Because food is medicine. Food is how we nourish our soul. Food is how we get healthy, get better. And I truly believe that food is one of the best ways to nourish your body and to allow yourself to grow and to heal. And another thing too is that I was also rushing this process. I was rushed on eating. I was so rushed, and I tried to just get it out of the way, feed myself and just get out of the way and then go back to working. But I quickly learned that that was very misaligned for me. Now I'm more intentional with my food. I am more present. I focus on the food. I even give thanks to my food. I send out a little prayer and I'm just like, you know what? Thank you so much for this food. But I also give thanks to my body, because I truly believe that when you give thanks and you say a little prayer before eating, your body is able to digest and break down that food a lot more efficiently. Your body listens. Your body really listens to your body. It doesn't know the difference between a joke and what's not a joke. So the way you speak to yourself makes such a difference. It's so important because your body listens. So if you say thanks and you're like, you know what? May I break this down efficiently. May my body absorb all the nutrients, and may my body receive all the nutrients it needs from this plate. And so now I do not answer any emails while eating. I do not work while eating. And recently I did try to send out an email, and quickly my stomach got in a knot and I was struggling. I was in pain. For some of us, some of you may think I'm fine. I could eat while working. I'll be fine. I don't have IBS like you, but trust me, your body is going to catch on, and sooner or later, your body's going to be like, hey, hello, focus on your food. You need to focus on your food because I'm struggling over here to digest your food. And that's when I'm going to be like, look, I told you so. I told you so. Because we're not always going to be this young. My digestion was way better back in the day. It went pretty bad, but now it's improved a lot. It's not perfect, but it's improved a lot, and I'm thankful for that. My tip to you, the last thing I'll say for this part of the YouTube video is be intentional with your food and be present. Because your body will know, it'll listen, and your connection with food will become even stronger. That was a lot. I know I had a lot to say. I'm still new at these videos, so this is also a journey for me. I truly wanted to share these 5 things with you just because I'm very passionate about taking care of my body and regulating my nervous system, because I'm here for longevity. I'm here to experience life with all of you as well. And I hope that you also want to elevate your life and make things easier for yourself. Again, these were the 5 things I wish I knew sooner, that I did in my early 20s, that I no longer do in my late 20s. And that is not taking breaks, which has now turned into taking breaks. Second, rushing. However, I no longer rush for everything. 3, I no longer drink cold water first thing in the morning. I no longer go to sleep with wet hair. I no longer eat while working. I purely focus on just eating. So if you still do these things, this is not to make you feel bad. This is just some of the things I've learned that I wanted to share with all of you. But also sometimes I feel like sometimes we have to experience things in order to want to grow and learn from that. Because I know if I did not go through that experience, I would not be in front of all of you here on YouTube speaking in front of all of you. I would have not done a career change as well. Lastly, listen to your body. Your body is sacred. It loves you. Every day it fights for you. It's there to take care of you. It's there to keep you in homeostasis and balance and safe. Because sometimes our body gets confused. Sometimes there's a disconnection between your brain, your heart, and your body. And sometimes when there's a disconnection between your heart and your body gets confused. And that's when a lot of emotions can arise, but can also be suppressed. I'm sharing this all with you because I was suppressing my stress. I was ignoring the stress. I was ignoring the signs my body was giving me. And stress and anger is a low frequency. There's a saying that stress could kill, and literally, stress could literally do so much damage. It literally gave me an autoimmune disease because I did not regulate my nervous system. I did not manage my stress levels. It manifested into an autoimmune disease. And anger can also do the same. It can lead to health issues as well. Everything is energy. Everything holds an energy. You are energy. I'm energy. And so I truly wanted to spread love and healing, especially because love is a high frequency. And I feel like love is something I want to continue attracting because what you give out is what you get back. So if you're stressed and angry all the time, that is what you're putting out into the universe, and that is what you're going to receive. So whether you're in your early 20s, late 20s, 30s, 40s, I hope you learned something from this video today and that it's helped you in a way to make better choices and healthier habits in your life so that it can support you in becoming the best version of yourself. And I hope that I was able to share positivity and love and healing with all of you. Life isn't all about healing. You're supposed to have the good and the bad, the highs and the lows, because if it wasn't for the lows, I wouldn't be here in front of all of you speaking to you. So thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe, comment. Love you. See you in the next video.